So if a direct injection ski, you've got everything else right. The display's working, solenoid's working, you've got power going to the start-stop switch. It won't work and the bilge pump doesn't work when you push the button, or it blows a fuse. Then the culprit probably is this LR-503 module. This module is a circuit board that controls the start and then the stop and the bilge pump, but it recognizes RPM from the engine. When it recognizes RPM, the start part of the module cuts off and the stop part of the module begins to work. So whenever you hit the stop button, it kills the engine. This is how they can make a start-stop button in the same button. And then when it recognizes RPM, it cuts on the bilge pump so that it runs continuously. So I'm going to throw another one in. And if you constantly hear chickens in the background, he is absolutely annoying. There you go. Yeah. Non-stop all day long, that thing crows. First attempt at cranking. Pour a little more in. I don't have the injectors, fuel, or anything connected. I don't want to suck any bad fuel in until I clean the tank. Oh, a bunch of oil and gook in the bottom of the crankcase that it's got to overcome before it runs. Yeah. Okay. We'll do that one more time and let it rev so I can blow some of that stuff out, and then if I have time today, hook fuel to it. Okay, a little bit of gas, give it a little bit of fuel. There we go. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone there. It runs. Oh yeah. It has a cracked jug on the PTO cylinder. Yep. Exhaust gases are coming out of that. Cracked cylinder jug has been removed. For those interested in how the coolant system works for a Polaris, this is a Genesis. The same would be on a Virage and a lot of different probably Polaris jet skis. And so water, lake water, fresh water comes into, or whether you're in salt water, whatever, lake water, ocean water comes into this pickup tube from the inside of the jet pump. Just the water that's out here on the outside of the pump, as the pump builds up pressure, it comes in through a port right here, goes into this pickup tube, which in turn goes to a hose that is right down here, right there, hose. That hose goes up and around and ends up right here. That hose connects to the exhaust manifold right here, goes in to cool the exhaust, and comes out of these holes. How, I'm not sure exactly if both of them flow or one is a entrance and one's an exit. I'm not sure how that works, but I do know these are water jackets. that when the exhaust manifold is in its place, right there in those holes, it enters into the engine and cools through the cylinder jug and cylinder head, and I believe comes out here through the exit manifold. There's a thermostat inside here, and then it exits out the ski. Okay, at some point, a percentage of water, and I'm not sure where that enters into at, but a percentage of water goes through the water jacket that is in the stator and comes out the water jacket in the stator into a hose and goes out and goes through the EMM, cools the computer, and then exits out the bottom of the EMM and then exits out of the ski through a little hole. In the middle of the frame, right there, is a hole in the side of the hull, and inside of that, that's where the exhaust comes out. About a 1/2 inch inside of there is another little orifice or hole that red hose, exit hose, ends up from the EMM. If that's plugged up by a dirt dauber, this ski will overheat. The ski engine will not overheat, the EMM will overheat. So that has to be cleared out. And at the same time, on the exhaust manifold, another percentage of water comes through this hose and gets, or no, it goes this way through this hose and gets injected in. There's a little orifice inside of here that gets injected as a mist and cools the exhaust gases as they come out of the combustion chamber. So now that I have found a crack in that cylinder, it was cracked right across here, I went ahead, took that cylinder off and got a replacement for it and have the cylinders back together. I have checked compression. Upon inspection, before I was putting everything back together, I noticed a crack in the exhaust manifold in the middle. When that cylinder head cracked, it cracked the manifold as well. The reason it did that is there was oil and water, and or just oil, I don't know. It had a lot of oil in it, but it had a lot of water in the bottom of the crankcase. The crankcase was completely filled, and when I cranked it, it allowed air into the cylinder, and then when that piston came back down, there was so much compression under the piston that what would normally be a vacuum couldn't take place, and it cracked the bottom of that cylinder, pushing it up, which pushed the exhaust manifold up. I happen to have a manifold on my shelf from another Genesis that I parted out. So far, what I've done to this ski is I've taken the fuel pump assembly out and got the fuel pump working and tested the fuel pump out to make sure it was working, and then reattached the fuel pressure regulator, which was in the bottom of the assembly, which I have a video for that. I took the oil sending unit out and put black electrical tape around it, about maybe 5 or 6 wraps, and put it back in there, making it secure. So now my fuel gauge, oil gauge works properly. And as far as I know, everything works on this. When I did have it on the trailer and in the water some, I tested the reverse and it works. So I'm going to clean the bilge now. As you can see, it is nasty down in there, and now is a good opportunity to get that cleaned up. So I have tried a lot of different chemicals, solvents, gimmicks, hull cleaner, all kind of stuff for degreasing. And I have found that Dawn dish soap, high concentration of Dawn dish soap and a little bit of water makes the best degreaser. And fairly clean hole, ready for exhaust manifold to be put in. Exhaust manifold's back in. Everything's buttoned back up, clean, and ready to go. First crank in the water. I did warm it up to temp on the trailer, but I'm just going to run it for a while idling. And then I'll go quarter throttle. Then I'll get it on plane, barely on plane. Just run the engine for a while like that. I got this one running good now, real good. Oh yeah, running good. This is the beautiful Lake Wedowee. That's called the Eagle's Nest, a little place out here. Absolutely beautiful out here.